welcome to everybody to today's virtual company showroom with Open Systems. Before we start, I also wanted to apologize that we were in the end not able to hold this meeting in person as initially planned. With summer holidays approaching, it proved to be quite tricky getting people to attend in person, but hopefully we'll be able to organize something in the future. And so I also take the opportunity to welcome our three speakers today. So we have Adam Schofield, Product Owner, Remote Access Team. We have Jibril Bangura, Senior Talent Partner, and our very own CERN alumnus working at Open Systems, Carlos Miguel Vergel Infante, who works as a Customer Success Data Analyst. Sorry, I read all your names. I know sometimes people just use some of them. I was not sure.
I use most of them. Okay.
And we are very much looking forward to finding out more about Open Systems and the opportunities they have for our alumni. And with that, I leave the floor to you guys.
Yep, well, thank you. So I will start. So as you said, we are Open Systems SASE Experience. We'll explain to you what it is later. So I'm going to start with a small introduction about myself and then leave it to my dear colleagues here. So as Simona said, my name is Jibril Bangura. As you can hear, I'm from France. I'm not hiding it. I've been living in Switzerland for 7 years and working recruitment for more than 12. I joined Open Systems 2 years ago, so I'm handling everything recruitment-wise. So if you have any question related to recruitment process, how do we do things, any also hot topic or recruiters like question that you might have, please feel free to ask them at the end. And I will pass it to Adam.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Adam Schofield. I'm product owner of Remote Access. My background is I did a PhD in signal processing at Imperial College London, and then I was at EPFL in Lausanne for quite some time, doing postdoc and some things in a startup. And then I also did a startup myself, spin-off, and then I joined Open Systems also 2 years ago, around the same time as Jib. I working as a product owner, which is basically deciding a little bit what we build, and as I was just doing, why I'm a little bit late, trying to rescue deals when they're a bit challenging. That's my side.
Yeah. So hi, my name is Carlos, and my background is in physics. So I was actually at CERN. I worked with the Atlas collaboration during my PhD. Me and my team, we observed for the first time the Higgs to BB decay, which was very exciting. I think it was in 2019. Yeah, 2019. And then I went to industry right before COVID, and I've been here in Zurich basically since then. Excited to be talking to CERN. This is quite exciting.
So let's talk a bit more about what is Open Systems. So I will go more about the story about Open Systems and then let my colleague talk about the more technical details. So we've been founded in 1990. We are a Swiss cybersecurity company headquartered in Zurich, as I mentioned. So that's very important to notice because most of our competitors actually in that field are international organizations like Palo Alto, the other one, that are not actually Swiss. So that's very nice to have a Swiss company in the ecosystem. More than 30 years old, so I don't think we can use the word startup anymore, although we kept the size. Recently, in September 24, we got acquired by the Swiss Post Cybersecurity Hub, alongside two other Swiss security companies called Teradata and Acknowledge. We are the latest addition and also the biggest company. So I guess in the end, the goal will be for us to have a kind of a joint solution. But at the moment, we are still a kind of a standalone company working on the SASE business. So that's what I put here in terms of definition. SASE stands for Secure Access Service Edge that combine networking security function and cloud native platform. But Adam will tell you more about this. We have employees worldwide, so Switzerland, as I mentioned before, Zurich and Bern, although we work in a hybrid style, meaning that people will come 1 or 2 days per week in the office, the rest they can work remote. Germany, fully remote. Netherlands, same. UK as well. And then we have 25 people in India and around 5 people in the US. As I mentioned here as well, the hybrid style for mainly the Switzerland people, for the rest, it is remote. And next.
Yeah, so I'll try to give you a brief overview of what we do, what we sell to our customers. So as Jib said, it's a SASE solution. So we sell a managed SASE solution. At a high level, we're allowing our customers like users to connect to applications, whether these users are in offices, working at home, and the applications, they can be in a data center, customer data center, they could be in the cloud. We also have a lot of customers that have manufacturing environments, so there'll be sites with kind of industrial equipment as well, and these are also connected to the internet, and we need this connectivity. So it's all about providing connectivity between these things in a secure and performant way. Our typical customer has at least 10 sites, often many more globally. So you kind of imagine there's all these kind of offices and maybe manufacturing plants and things around the world. And we're connecting these and also connecting users that are outside these, working at home, or applications in the cloud. And then SASE can be basically split into two sections. There's SD-WAN, so software-defined WAN. This is mainly about routing and kind of connectivity. So we provide SLAs, so service level agreements about the performance between different connectivity. And we have kind of smart routing, so certain applications have higher priority. For example, now, hopefully my Teams connection has a high priority, because if there's some latency there, that's going to be quite a problem. But my email should kind of have less latency, right? So these are the type of things that SD-WAN enables you to do, to kind of trade off which applications you want to have more priority and things like that. Then on the other side, we have SSE. So there's acronyms everywhere. That's a little bit part of the thing. If you work in this field, you start to know them after a while, but there's certainly a learning curve there. So SSE is Secure Service Edge. It's basically about security products that run in the cloud. And on the right, you see a whole list more of acronyms. I won't go through them all, but SWG, so the second one down, this SWG, this is essentially a proxy. So this might be something you've seen before, where essentially if you browse the internet, you do that over proxy to protect the device and the things that are on the device. So a lot of our customers have this service. And as part of SSE, this would run in the cloud, although in fact our offering, we have a cloud proxy, and we also have proxies that run on the custom offices, and we combine this in an optimal way to give a nice solution to our customers. And then there's many other things, like ZTNA is actually my main focus, where I spend probably 90% of my time. But yeah, I could definitely ask questions if they come up, but I won't go into too many details maybe now.
So let me tell you a little bit about the numbers at Open Systems. One of the things that we really care is our relationship with our customers. That's very important to us. And then we see that customers stay with us for a long time. As you can see here, they stay on average, tenure is 8.5 years, so retention rate is actually quite high, it's 97%. There is a number that we use in industry called Net Promoter Score, the NPS, so another acronym. And that's basically what it measures, is between minus 100 and 100, and that gives an idea of your customers are promoting the business or not. And this 69 is actually the highest in the industry. Usually 10, 20, 30 is a good number, but actually Open Systems have quite big. And one of the parts that is very exciting about Open Systems is that it's really global. So we have deployments in 180 countries, and it just makes it very interesting when you have to learn how each country does things differently, but we still have to provide the same high quality product. So when we work with customers, there are also there are two steps in the process. The first one is when they start working with us. So when they contact us, we create a demo, we create a workshop, and then we start looking into how their current situation is and what can we solve. As I mentioned, we have more than 180 countries. So depending on the customer that we might have to come up with different solutions. For example, sometimes there are some restricted countries for some companies, like if it's not US-based companies, but we also have NGOs, which are more flexible in that. So we have to make sure we can make a proposal that adjusts to the needs of each of the customers. Then once the decision is made, then we go into the implementation, where we have to send the devices and making sure that everything is connected and running as expected. Then after this, then it comes when the actual operation is running. And then there are different ways to do this in the market. One way is in-house managed. That basically means these services, they provide you with the tools, and then you have to do everything. You have to do the monitoring, you have to do the changes. If something breaks, you have to call. So it just takes a lot of effort for the companies. Another option is when it's fully managed. So then a company simply just get, for example, AT&T, and AT&T does everything for them. But then obviously that makes it just quite complicated when you want to make small changes for your own. So at Open Systems, we actually are right there in the middle. We monitor all of our devices 24/7, all holidays, every single day of the year. But at the same time, we provide our customers with the products, but also with the flexibility for them to change the stuff and to find the solution of the stuff that they need.
Yeah, so the service experience that we promised, so I mentioned before, we have SLAs, service level agreements, and as Carlos mentioned, also very proactive with things like monitoring and things like this. Another big thing we have is what we call our mission control. So this is, we deliver 24/7 support to our customers via third level engineers. So what this means in practice is that almost everyone at Open Systems does support. They're part of this mission control. So it's actually a big part of the culture of the company as well. Even C-level execs spend 1 day a week, 20% of their time doing support. What this means is if you work at the company, you need to know about the whole product offering, how things work, what pain points there are in the product, how to kind of technically manage them. And if you're, for example, an engineer, this is really useful in that you see the issues, you directly go and fix them. If things can be operated more efficiently, you go back and you develop some automation to make it much more efficient. And actually our mission control, the reason we're able to do this with level 3 engineers is we don't have many engineers that are actually doing this for a lot of users, but we really have processes and automations and things in place that make us extremely efficient when we're in mission control. And then another nice thing about this is it's 24/7, and we didn't want people in Switzerland to be waking up at night and kind of not doing the best job they could. And so we have a support center also in Hawaii, where there's a 12-hour time difference, and the nights are actually covered by the team in Hawaii. And if you become a qualified mission control engineer, you then can go to Hawaii for 2 to 3 months every few years. So, for example, I'm actually flying on Sunday to Hawaii, and my family will join a few weeks later for the first time. So this is kind of a nice perk in the company. You go there, we have apartments, houses, and you can go with your family and work from there for a few months.
Thanks, guys. So talking about hiring needs, I'd like to start by mentioning that typically when it comes to our, let's say, roadmap for hiring, we have typically headcount planning end of the year, then we have all the headcount being released early Q1, and then we can just plan what are the priorities for teams, okay? So now I just give you here a small, let's say, a screenshot of the type of role that we typically have open. So on engineering side, we always have most of the time software engineer working on full stack. So the type of technology that we'll be looking for are Java plus JavaScript or TypeScript with some framework, React or Angular. If on top of that, you're also familiar with cloud Kubernetes, that's even better, but that's more like a bonus point. The software system engineers are the SAC team, so that's Adam team, for example, typically looking for coding, ideally Python or Go, but if you have some experience with other one, it's fine. We welcome any coding language in the every process. Some networking knowledge, so OSI model, that's the easiest way to talk about it. Which layer you're familiar with, we'll be evaluating and see if we can make a good use of it. And as I mentioned again, some cloud and system exposure are highly welcome. So we have several teams for SAC, the one from Adam, remote access, web security, email, routing, and many other ones. So have a look at the website, and if you see something that could be a good match, feel free to apply. As well, we hired recently more data scientists, data analysts, or data engineer. Carlos is one of them that joined us. I think you're the latest. No, you're not the latest anymore.
I'm not the latest anymore.
Yeah. We hired 2 more actually. So yeah. So opening typically, as I said, Python, SQL, and then some NLP, LLM. Read the job description once again. If you see it online, reach out to me or to Carlos as well, because he can give you some good tips for how to prepare for the interview. And that's it. For the sales or people that are more, let's say, business oriented, we hire sales engineer. I know it sounds very salesy, but they are the ones that do the requirements and demos. So typically, there are people that are very strong as well on engineering side, networking or engineering. They'll be the one doing the demo for clients. So if you are willing to have a more client-facing position, that could be the deal. Customer success, our engineers are supposed to deal with upselling. So trying to assess with our clients what are needed, what can be done, and how we can increase the collaboration with them. So same stuff, engineering background, a sales interest or experience is welcome, as well as German speaking. And then last but not least, sales exec are more purely business developer with cybersecurity background. So if you want to move away from engineering and choose to come more on the sales side, as well, check our career website. And other function that we've been also having a lot, marketing, so product marketing manager, junior marketing specialist, fleet marketing, business application as well a lot. And then when it comes to legal, compliance, etc., etc. So I will advise you to all check our career website. If you see something that is of interest, you can also add me on LinkedIn. I'm not difficult to find with my name, obviously, so I'm sure you'll be able to add me. If you have any question regarding the interview process as well, you can ask me as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it for us, guys. So thank you very much. Is there any questions?
I will say thank you so much. This was very complete in the time that you managed to cover everything. So I hope that there are still some unanswered questions. And I must say the Hawaii thing, I was really sold. Can marketing people also go to Hawaii, or it's only technical people, probably, right?
As long as you do the mission control certification, for example, my manager, who is the head of HR, is going to be going, I think end of this year as well. So you need to do the certification. It's welcome for everyone. I will not do it because I'm too lazy to do it, for example, but I've got many people in my team that did it as well. So as long as you pass, I think it's PE Pro, you should be able to go to Hawaii. But of course, there are less slots for people that are PE Pro because they are not as technically sound as someone like Adam, for example, obviously. So yeah, but it's still possible, yes. That happened actually in Morgana as well last year.
I'm putting your company on the list for my post-CERN potential. Anyway, I wanted to open the floor to questions from our audience. So you can either drop them in the chat or just, unmute yourself or raise your hand so that we can see that you want to speak. I see Andrew has a question. Go for it.
Oh, hello. So my name is Andre, and I would like to ask if having a security background is like a must to join your company.
No, depend on the role, I would say. If you apply for security officer position, probably yes. But if you apply, I think for many people in your team, Adam, didn't have a security background, right?
Yeah, no, so yeah, there's definitely depth. I mean, first of all, the 3 people around the table don't have a security background here, so none of us. So that gives you already some insights. I mean, different roles. But yeah, for example, in the team I work in, we have some people quite security background, but we also have some that are much more developers as background. And at least in my team, we find it harder to teach development than to teach security, right? So if you come with pretty strong development skills, normally that's a good fit.
That's the case from Igor, for example, that just joined recently as a senior engineer. And I don't think he has any security background. He was coming more for cloud plus coding. And he was hired as senior engineer. So, yeah.
For me, but there's also still a possibility to shift towards security, right?
Yeah.
And because we have to do the certification program, then like you learn all these tools. But like, for example, for me, again, as a physicist, I didn't know anything about networking, security, nothing of this. And I just got certified last week, I think it was. And then, yeah, basically the last like 6 months, I was just taking these courses. I was taking, the company gave me the time and the tools to learn all of these and catch up to speed. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess the thing to add is you should have a motivation to learn these things, right?
That's important. For sure. Yeah.
But if not, if you've got that, then that's enough.
Yeah. Actually, the people that have the most security background, funny-wise, are actually the junior profile. Because since we have a very good, let's say, collaboration with DPFL and ETH, that have like a cybersecurity masters, we have many newcomers that are coming from this background because one of the very few, I would say, cybersecurity or networking security company that offer both, as Adam says, the cybersecurity exposure plus the coding part. So many people from DTH or the PFL, interns and new grad are actually coming here, but the more senior people not necessarily have actually a security background. So that's a bit, I think, very, very funny.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Andre. Any other question?
Yes.
Okay, Elizabeth, I go, then I take the one from the chat.
Sorry, maybe you mentioned it before and I missed it, but do you foresee any opening for data scientist, data analyst? Because I checked the website and there is not at the moment.
So we're supposed to have one coming soon, but we need to do an internal move from someone first to unlock it. So I would say probably around Q4, probably will be at some opening. Yes. We had like 3 earlier this year. We all filled them, fortunately. So yeah, but yeah, we'll have some more.
Okay, thanks.
You're very welcome.
Great. I'm not sure if Echa, I saw you unmuting yourself. I have a.
Yeah, I did.
Go for it.
Thanks. For the training you guys are mentioning, do you use like industry-specific trainings like CompTIA, or do you have something proprietary that you guys do?
For training, sorry.
For the training that you do for the certification that Canvas has done, is it industry-specific or?
No, this is an internal certification that we've developed. So basically, each team that has a product, well, there's kind of a general training that comes first, a kind of a base set of knowledge. And then after each team, we do our own trainings for our own product. So it's part of the responsibility of the team that build the product to also offer the education to teach the new people doing the trainings, these courses. And then as well, we have regular, what we call operations briefings and Tuesday trainings, where we kind of updating people who are already fully qualified, but our product change over time. So we need to keep the education going.
Yeah, that's the cool part to going through it, is that you don't only learn about the subject, but you learn about the tools that are built here at the company. And then you go and talk to the ones building it, and then you can ask questions, and they just know it really well.
And also, it's not like also we drop our engineer and then tell them suddenly, hey, well done, you're certified. We'll be having as well shadow training, so they'll be helped by or mentored, by another person that will go the first shift with them. They will just at the beginning only listen and just watch how it's done. When you're on the shift, it's not like you're alone as well for 24 hours, or at least I think it's always 6 to 8 people at the same time, something like that. So even should you be like lost, you can always ask for help for people in the team, and obviously the people in the same shift as you will help you. So far, we never had anyone that complained, or cried or anything. So I guess we're not doing so bad.
To give maybe some context, it depends a little bit the team, but in my team, when you join, we normally expect you to finish this training in around 6 months, and you have 50% of your time to spend on it. So it's really, it's a big training. There's really, you're given space and time to learn it. It's not that you kind of just push through something that's difficult to do. And then also, as Jeeb mentioned, so when you start, you only do shifts where there's lots of other engineers, but then as you become more experienced after several years, then you might be doing a shift where you're by yourself on a weekend. And actually Hawaii, it's a nice perk, but also people, when they start, you get prioritized to go to Hawaii when you first qualify, because this you actually do more support there. You're in the office with everyone doing support together, and it's actually really an intense boot camp on how to do this support as well. So it does have a purpose for training.
I forgot to mention as well that we paid our employees for these extra shifts. So they get paid 150 francs per shift. And should you take some late night one or weekend one, you get paid extra money. And of course, you can also compensate. So if you take, for example, a weekend shift on Sunday, you get paid more. And you can also choose to get either an extra day of holidays, or you say next week, for example, I'll be not coming on Monday. That's the HR guy talking. We wish people will do more of this. But some people will say, well, I'd rather work 6 days a week, maybe a couple of times, and get an extra week of holidays. Both are fine. Just saying work-life balance is important, so pick wisely.
Another thing about the certification is because everyone has to do it. Like even if you have a background or no background, then everyone understands, and they try to help you. And because again, the entire company, almost the entire company, have gone through it. Makes it easier.
I think there were a question in the chat. I saw it appearing quickly.
There is one about what kind of NLP skills would be interesting.
What do you say, Carlos?
Ooh.
Because we hired like Philippe, yourself, who else?
Yeah.
Also the intern. It was a bit of both. We had both a bit, no?
I think we also have, so this is kind of like Carlos, it's I guess more using these tools, right? And then there's also, we have what's currently called the co-pilot team. They're about to rename themselves, but they're actually developing more AI stuff. So I think it depends, again, where you hire there. If you want to actually really develop AI, that's a possibility there. And then Carlos, you can maybe talk more about using it.
Yeah, so
I think it was for the platform.
Yeah, I think for the most part we're doing LLM, so kind of knowing anything related from NLP that is using LLMs. I think that's the most important part for the Copilot team. I don't think my team is necessarily working on NLP at the moment.
It was more for the platform team because the recent data scientists or data engineer or data analysts that we hired that were in the platform team, so the manager had like a bigger need for that type of stuff. That's why I put in the hiring needs check based on the job description, because we always try to adapt them based on what we are looking for. So you can see if you can make the cuts. But obviously, I'll be transparent with you. These roles are very popular now, so we receive a lot of applications. So unfortunately, we can be picky in that case, and pick only the best, like Carlos. You're welcome.
I see Aisha has one more question, and then we get to the second question from the chat.
Yeah, sorry. Considering that SASE is like a lot of products in one, and expertise is product to product based, is there an option once you join for one product team to possibly also learn about the others? Because there's a big difference between network security and IAM, right? So, and cybersecurity in general is very broad. Is there a possibility to?
Well, the decision would be as well to do internal move. That's what we do. After 1 year, we ask people actually to spend 1 year in their team before they apply for something else. We have a lot of mobility because, as we say, our product tech stack is kind of complex. So we'd rather people to be able to move internally than them leaving the company. Actually, we have also a very small attrition rate. So means so far people are happy. So in that case, if you, for example, you say, hey, I've been working for a remote access team for a while, I'd rather go to work on routing team. If there's an opening, you can shift to this team. You do like an informal recruitment process with a manager, shortened version, but then you can move internally. So that's the way. And of course, projects that could be cross-functional. We do hackathon and everything. So in that case, that's also the opportunity for you to learn from different team or different stuff as well. But just to stress that out again, the company, it's only 300 employees. I forget to mention it, which means that we cannot be like other big tech company that can have one team doing one specific thing. We have people that are very adaptable, that can move from one team to the other, that can display their skills. So that's why I think people also are really happy to work with us, because they are not saying, hey, I'm only a software engineer, so only do this for the next 5 years. So yeah, if you are interested in looking to do other stuff, I think that's a good company to work for.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah.
Then I think, Jibril, there is a question for you about the hiring process for a technical position. As an example, I don't know, data scientist or engineer. I was also wondering whether you have any case studies and stuff like this.
Yeah, so I will start for engineering first, then we can talk about specific team and other specific needs. Typically, the interview process starts with someone applying or me reaching out to them if there's no good application. They will go for a first interview with me or me and the hiring manager. So let's take with Adam. We did plenty of interviews together for the past 2 years. So I'll be covering more the HR-related topics. So validating that the person understands what they're applying for, check that there's no, let's say, a red flag in terms of personality and everything. Also check compensation and benefits, because that's an important topic. And then typically I will leave them with the hiring manager so they can cover more technical questions with them. If that interview goes well, then I sit with the hiring manager, we decide if we move forward in the interview process, and we could go directly to on-site interview or online interview, depending where the candidate is based. And for that, we have a mix of several interviews. We use the first interview as a kind of icebreaker when we ask candidates to talk about anything that they're passionate about. I always strongly advise people to pick a non-related technical topic so they can talk about themselves. So we had interview about so many topics: Dungeons and Dragons, hikes, photography, Quake 3. I did my own James Bond in my case. So it's a lot of topics. So you can use that icebreaker and cool down, because you have a room full of people, and then small Q&A on this presentation. Then we have 2 breakout sessions usually that can be technical interviews and another one on as well working together. So we offer every single team members of the team that they apply for to be able to sit with the candidate and see if they would like to work with them. We had several cases when people were very strong technically speaking, but I would say they did poorly on the soft skill side, so we didn't hire them. So that's as important for us to have someone that is technically good as a likable person in our open system terms. So, and then, yeah, we just debrief with the team, and if the candidate is successful, we'll move to offer stage and salary negotiation if it's possible. So that's for engineering. And for non-engineering, we can have a similar process. It's just that we'll be evaluating specific skills. Could be, I don't know, marketing knowledge, in my case, recruitment skills, many other things. And yes, some business case, we have that. We didn't have one for you, did we? No. Yeah, we did for the team, we did for sales engineer as well, to see their ability to present in public, because they'll be facing a lot of people. So it depends really on the team. But that's really the interview process most of the time.
Can you tell us more or less how long does the whole process take? I know that it can depend based on like how many steps there are.
We hired some people sometimes in 3 weeks with Adam, as we could take 5 months depending on the difficulties of the role. So yeah, we are the type of person that we're not going to hire someone because you said, hey, I'm available, for example, 1st of July, and another one can only start in October. If the other one in October is better, we'll take the one in October. So we never hire, at least I make sure of this, we never hire based on the emergency like that. We'll try, if we can hire someone in 2 weeks, we'll do it. But if not, we'll wait, and that's not a big deal.
But from a candidate perspective, it's very quick. As Chip described, there's basically a first call, and then after that, if you get to that round, there's a second thing, which is all these other interviews, but it's all done in the same day. So you basically have one first call and one longer session, and then there's a decision. So it's very quick.
And when it comes to feedback, the time that you might wait the longest is after the first interview, because before inviting people on site, usually we try to group the interviews. So potentially, for example, with Adam, we could have 10 interviews in the week. So if I interview on Monday, I will wait till Friday to see all the candidates that we have to pick the one that we want to bring to on site. So that's why. So that's the case. But I'm always, at least I'm trying to be very transparent on this and explain that you should expect feedback at that time and at the other time. And once you come on site, typically the feedback is 24 or 48 hours usually. That's what we try to do. There are always, of course, emergency or issues, but that's what we stand for. And based on Glassdoor improvement, I think we're not doing so bad so far.
That's super nice. Great. Then there is still a related question to the recruitment, which is about people from non-EU countries. What chances do they have? And also, I wanted to add one more, which is about spontaneous applications, whether this is encouraged, discouraged, whether you take them into account.
So I will start with spontaneous application. I will advise you not to do it too much, because if there's no opening at the moment, your resume will probably be lost. And I don't see the point in applying in every single position if you don't match the criteria. So it's always good to, of course, you can add me or people that you met in forum, whatever, it's fine, and say, hey, I really like to heard about the system. I'd like to be in touch with you, so you can also check when we post things on LinkedIn. But spontaneous application and say, here's me, do you have something for me? From a recruiter point of view, I would tell you not to do it in general, because it's not going to get you anywhere, to be honest. And also, it might also backfire and looks like you just didn't care about the job description or the career website. You just send that to every single recruiter, and it's not very professional. But that's my point of view. The second question was on the non-EU people. Yes, we do a case-by-case approach, meaning that, for example, for data scientist position, considering that we receive more than 100 applications, it's most likely that we should be able to find someone already local without going through the struggle to do work permit. For other position, if the market is difficult, we are struggling to hire people, we'll do it. We hired 2 people actually last month that are non-EU citizens, but it's just a case-by-case approach. The issue with that is that when we do the process for non-EU people, there's a part that we cannot control because we need to send a file, for those who don't know, and we need to check every single application that we receive and explain why we didn't hire that person, to justify that we can get someone on the B permit that is not a EU citizen. So then we send that to the Office of Employment, and it can take them anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months to resolve the issue. So That's a lot of stress. That happened for us, that we had several cases when people waited more than 5 months, which is not the best candidate experience. So we just do a case by case. So by any means, apply, be honest about your status so we know what we can do. If your profile looks very good, we'll give it a try.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions from the audience before I jump in with my questions? I don't see anything else in the chat. Maybe I would ask Carlos, since you worked at CERN also, 2 questions. So one is, what was your onboarding experience coming from the academic environment? And also perhaps how would you compare open systems to when you were working at CERN? What is maybe better? Let's not call it worse, let's call it different. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think in general what I like about open systems is that it's quite similar to CERN in many ways. I think the talent, the pool talent that there is in this company is quite high, but also very international and also very friendly. And that was my experience at CERN. It was always very easy to just kind of go to the office next door or go to our cafeteria and then just chat with someone. It's just the same here. Actually, we are going for a round with Adam after this call because we also have like there's a group that go for lunch runs and they do this kind of stuff. So I do like the atmosphere quite a bit. I think to me, especially coming from CERN, I think probably the biggest challenge that I had was that I never took any business class or business, just nothing business related, not even like a YouTube video. So when I started working in industry, that just kind of took me a little bit to kind of get used to it and like learn the lingo and like understand kind of the priorities on that. So that took a little bit, but that's what I did later an MBA just to kind of understand that a little bit more, understand what are the goals and how to move forward. Maybe the one thing that I think is different, and I think is just industry, I guess, academia, is the speed for things, which is a good and a bad thing, I guess, depends how you look at it. But I think in industry, sometimes we want to make sure we can create a quick prototype that we can just deliver something to the customers. Like, we don't have like until the next academic year until we do this. Like, it's a much faster pace, which is also very exciting when there are new tools, especially with LLMs. And then it's like, okay, there's this new tool. Let's try to see if we can make it work or we can create a prototype. It's a much, much faster speed.
Thank you. And as I still don't see any questions, and really do not hesitate to raise your hand or just drop it in the chat, I will ask one more question to Jibril, and it is about, we have these people currently at CERN that are really coming from an academic background, and when they are applying to industry, a lot of recruiters tell us that the CVs that they receive are just full of academic jargon and that they are not really made for industry. So maybe from your perspective as a recruiter, do you have any perhaps advice for those people, what they should focus on, how they should really tailor their CVs to stand out?
I would say first that if recruiters tell that to applicants, they are bad recruiters, but that's just my point of view first. But I guess it depends on the case. If you're applying for a position that needs, for example, a lot of experience in LLM, NLP, whatever, and you did tons of research on that topic, it makes sense to put it on your resume. To me, that's my point, my take. Some other recruiters see different, but I already told you about how I feel about them. When it comes to your resume, of course, there's difference between academic resume and industry one. I would advise you to go straight to the point. Make sure that when you compare your resume to the job that you apply for, that if I spend some time on the resume, I will see the core skills that are needed for this position. So in that case, I'm sure that you will be able to identify in your resume stuff that are not very useful for this position. You can always put in a cover letter on additional like appendix the other stuff that you did and say, I'm coming from research background. Here's the link to my Google Scholar or other things that will do the job. So be, I guess, smart about it. You know better what is needed for the job when you apply than me based on your resume. So try to highlight that in your resume. And if you have the chance to also talk about your academic background, it's always a plus. Put it in a small link, a portfolio as well. I see many people that do that as well. With an hyperlink to a website where they have all the stuff they did in research. And that's already more than enough.
Great. Thanks so
Maybe
much.
one thing, because you talk about acronyms in at Open Systems. I think CERN, it was also very much like that. Like I work with H2BB PK. Unless you are there and like you know these things, there is no way. So it's about not changing what you did, but just really highlighting the things that are important, right? Like I think when I wrote in my resume, it was not that I work with the Higgs boson to that. It was more like, hey, I use statistics and cloud computing and kind of all this to resolve this issue. You know, kind of tell a little more the story rather than just like the name of a paper.
Showcase your highlights, your skills. I should be able to say if I'm looking for someone that can code, I should see some coding language in your resume. If you tell me that you are a specialist in that specific topic in cloud, I should see which cloud technology you've been working with, that type of stuff. If I have to make an effort to understand what it means, your resume is not good enough.
Yeah, great. I would also mention here that Carlos actually took part in another event we organized. It was this year, right? In March or March, I think, moving out of academia, where he was sharing a little bit more about his career journey, and how, he basically also gave some advice on how to make the transition. So you can find the recording on alumni.cern in the media center. Before we wrap up, there is still one more question. Two. Do you usually open positions for product owners or product managers?
We have most of the actually, Adam, you got hired as well externally, but I'd say, to be fully transparent with you, I'd say 90% of the PO or product manager position, we fill them internally. Two main things, because our tech stack is kind of complex, so it's not necessarily always easy to have someone that will be able to, at some point, manage the team and the product and the service behind it. So that's why. And also because we want to offer the opportunity to people, to first-time employee, to get promoted internally. But we also hire people externally like Adam, like Mandy as well last year. So yes, that happened. Yeah.
Great. And then one more question. At CERN, it can be challenging to achieve a good work-life balance. How do open systems approach this topic?
It's terrible. No, I'm kidding. We are very I think we after COVID, that's what I heard, because I was not there after COVID, but before COVID, sorry, we shifted to, of course, the full on-site 5 days a week. You know, so we have now an hybrid style. We're a good example here. Adam, as I said, living in Lausanne, coming 1 day per week in the office, moving with this team. We are very kind of empowering people to be able to manage their time the way they want. I say all the time during the process, never ever will you have someone that tells you need to be there at 8 a.m. and leave at 6 p.m. We believe that we hire adults that knows how to manage their time. So I'd say people that arrive anywhere literally from 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. here in the office. Then no one is literally on their ass saying like you should be there at 9 a.m. That being said, if you start to see that your performance is not there, obviously your manager will probably tell you maybe you should be more stable on your working time and make sure that you are here. But as long as you do your job, I never heard anyone saying that my manager is telling me I need to be there till 6 p.m. every day. I cannot work 1 day per week from the office because they don't want to, that type of stuff. We are very flexible. And also because we're also very international. I forgot to mention that especially for Swiss employees, it's also okay for us if you say, for example, I'd like to work 1 week from UK, from France, from Germany, from Italy. That happens quite often. It's not a big deal. As long as you fill the tax requirement with Switzerland, it's okay usually.
Great, thank you.
Quite good too, right? You get 25 base days, but then every year you're a certified mission control engineer, you get an extra day of holiday, up to 5 additional days. So then that's up to 30 days after 5-6 years in the company.
And we have 3 additional days, 2 are called me days that you can unlock as soon as you put your 5 weeks of holidays. So it's for us to make sure that people take the break they need, and an additional floating day. So you can get by default 28 days plus the mission control one if you're a mission control engineer.
I saw a thumbs up somewhere in the participants list, so I think people are happy with that answer. Thank you. And okay, there is one more question. Can even people with a business background take part in mission control?
Yeah.
Business role, I mean with the technology.
You have to pass the PE certification. That's the case. I have 3 people in my team that does that. They're coming from HR. Several people as well in the organization. If you want to do it, you can do it.
Great. Anything else that you want to add?
Check the CAR website. If you need anything else, ask Carlos, myself, or Adam. You can add us on LinkedIn. I will advise you as a recruiter to always be professional when you apply. So please avoid the blank application saying, do you have anything for me? I'm this, I'm that. Do you have a job for me? That's not professional. So as a strict advice, I would tell you first to check the career website. If you don't see anything, tell, I checked the career website, there's no job for me. I'm really interested in your company. I'd like to be in touch. That's way more personal, and that's an advice I can give you.
Last week, we had another company showroom, and we were discussing the topic whether the recruiters can see when the cover letter was written by ChatGPT, when it's like really copy-paste.
Yeah.
What is your take on that?
You can tell a bit because I don't know if you know, but if you go on ChatGPT and copy and paste broadly like that, you will see sometimes there are like a longer like minus bar between message. And if you keep that minus bar between words in the middle of nowhere, I can tell you'd use ChatGPT. So if you want to use ChatGPT, by any means do. I would advise you to draft something and ask ChatGPT to improve it, which is fine. But if you do it like find me an inspirational quote to reach out to Jibu, that's not going to work. So yeah. If I see the big comma between, I'll be like, yeah, ChatGPT.
Okay.
To actually write with end dashes, and now I can't do it anymore. I'm the only person who used to use them.
Oh.
Now everyone thinks it's ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Ruined me.
Yeah, that's it.
Great, guys. Thank you so much. I think that is all that is left to say. Thanks to our speakers. Thanks to everybody who was willing to spend this hour with us. And we really hope we'll hear some success stories of people being hired by Open Systems, and we'll be in touch with you about that. So thank you so much, and hope to see you in person at CERN at some point soon.